Preview show time.
Let's do it.
UFC 260. It's finally here. Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic 2. Oh my fucking God.
Let's go.
Oh my God.
We have been waiting for this fight. And with so much anticipation. UFC 260. Oh, by the way, guys, we're doing a fight companion for that next week, so be sure to tune into that. It's going to be a great time as always. They're always like 3-4 hours, but they are so much fun. But dude, Stipe Miocic, the consensus greatest heavyweight of all time, with how he's been able to just run through this heavyweight division, winning the trilogy against arguably one of the greatest fighters in the world, DC. Now fighting Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou finally getting this rematch after knocking out everyone in the first round. Wow. Where do we begin with this? Where do we begin with it?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I mean, there's so much fucking backstory into this. I feel like it's the same fight over again from the first fight. It's the same talking points. Francis is gonna go in there and KO him in one punch. He has the one punch KO power. He's got the world's most powerful punch. It's like a fucking Volkswagen driving 100 miles an hour in India or some shit.
And it's true.
It's true. It's the crazy. When I first heard that shit, I was like, nah, that's not true. No, it's literally a 12-pound sledgehammer swung overhead as hard as you can. That's how much power this man has.
Yeah. And one of these days, I'm going to Photoshop Alistair Overeem's head in space, in orbit, as a joke, you know, because wow. But yeah, man, again, same talking points as always. Stipe's game plan, we all know what it is. He doesn't want to, especially in the first round, you know, he's not trying to sit there and trade shots with Francis Ngannou.
No.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. He's at a point in his career where he definitely wants to defend the belt against Francis Ngannou one last time.
And he's been knocked out several times before, so it's like he knows that I can't eat shots from this.
So the biggest question here that remains, has Francis Ngannou worked on his takedown defense and has worked on being able to get up off his back? I think that's the biggest thing we see here. And has his clinch work improved?
Guess who's in his corner?
I have no idea who.
Kamaru Usman.
You're joking.
Nope.
That makes sense, though.
He has been working with Kamaru for this entire fight camp, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I don't know. I don't know, dude. It's because we all say about how, Francis' striking is so much better. He's evolved in so much. And then he goes out against fucking Rosenstrike and
11 seconds.
It's like the least amount of technique you could throw a punch with. Just doesn't give a shit.
Hulk smash, bro.
It's like,
that's
dude,
what it is.
If you're going to go in there and fucking just do that, like, why train? Why train? Why take all this time to do jiu-jitsu? Why take all this time to do defensive wrestling? Why? You're just going to go in there and just throw the most wild fucking retarded punches ever.
Come on, but it works.
It works.
You can't deny it. The guy's got so much power.
It's ridiculous, dude.
We're looking at a human specimen. Like, he is a superhuman. That's what he is, dude. Like, superpower. Like, it's insane. But you are right. Like, you know, you're like, oh yeah, he's working all this technique. You see these videos of him like
just goes out there and doesn't care.
With Mike Tyson, and then he just goes out there and just tries to knock you out in 10 seconds.
Dude, it's wild.
So again, can Stipe capitalize on that? And is Ngannou going to do that again? Will Francis Ngannou be cool, calm, and collected and really try to pick his shots, choose and pick his shots because he is so worried about the takedown? Or is he going to go out there in the first 15 seconds, try to take Stipe's head off, and then Stipe takes him down, holds him down there for 4.5 minutes, understandably, kind of like he did last time. And then do we see a repeat of that for another 4 rounds?
That's the biggest question. That's it, dude. Like, that's the fight. That's the fight. I mean, because look at the way Stipe, just the head movement, the way he made Francis miss, dude. That was a god-tier performance in the first fight.
Hey, hats off to Stipe. That is why he's a consensus greatest heavyweight of all time. I mean, what he was able to do against arguably the scariest man in the UFC for 5 rounds to dominate him the way that he did is something special that people have not been able to copy. I mean, dude, let's look at the fights since Stipe has done that. No one has copied that. They've all been knocked out in the first round.
Besides Derek Lewis,
okay,
which was
true.
Like, you almost didn't even want to mention that fight just because how fucking awful it was.
See, yeah, that fight. erased from the brain because that fight was just awful. And it was Ngannou. He was in a weird headspace. And dude, that was one of those things where both of them didn't want to get knocked out. So they ended up dancing. You know, I mean, I think that was more of a ballet than it was a fight.
That's a fight that I'm not very proud to say I was there for.
Yeah, you were. That's right. You were there for that
I was
fight.
so jacked. I was like, oh my God, I can't fucking wait.
And I'm serious. I cannot imagine being at that fight and being like, this might be the greatest heavyweight knockout of all time.
The greatest matchup of all time.
And then, dude, to dance around the octagon, my heart goes out to you. Yeah,
I was pissed. So, I mean, the whole first round, I was like, guys, he's testing him out. Everyone's freaking out around me. I'm like, everybody just relax. You don't know how good of a matchup this is, how great this fight is. And no, dude, literally the entire stadium was doing the fucking wave instead of watching the fight.
That's so funny too, because I could definitely see you be like turning around and the people
guys,
behind you, guys,
it's okay.
calm down, it's okay, this fight's gonna be awesome. And then by like rounds 3 and 4, they're like throwing shit at you, like, you fucking Lord, you told us this was gonna be a good fight.
Yeah. I told Sealy was with me, and I was like, dude, this will be the greatest fight you'll ever see in your entire life. And oh my goodness.
Yeah,
oh
well,
my goodness.
did you shit the bed on that one?
Yep.
But nonetheless, we'll get back to this because this is a very serious issue. I want to talk about the odds here. Vegas has this fight, incredibly enough, they have the consensus, and I know I keep saying it, guys, but the consensus greatest heavyweight of all time, they have him as a slight underdog at a plus 105. How do you feel about that, Tabor, going into this fight next Saturday?
I'm actually shocked it's not more. I'm shocked that Francis is not like a minus 300.
Would you? Okay, so if you're Vegas, do you put those odds as Francis minus 300?
Well, no, because you probably don't make as much money, right?
Well, right. But I'm just saying, like, this is literally a pick 'em fight.
That's what it should be. It should be like these are right odds. Like this is what it should be. But with the hype around Ngannou and just how much fucking power he has, I'm shocked it's not more.
Now,
I
look,
really am.
We all know I'm picking Francis Ngannou here, but it blows my mind, okay, from a betting standpoint, that again, you have the greatest heavyweight of all time, Stipe, who literally took this guy 2 or 3 years ago and dominated him for all 5 rounds, and he's still the underdog. In what other scenario, in what other world ever, I mean, any division out there in the UFC, in what other scenario would you have that happen?
This is a sport, I guess.
This is
the way
just
that,
like,
I mean, look,
yeah.
Connor's going to be the favorite in this next Dustin Poirier fight.
Oh, God, I hope he is, because guess what? I'm laying money on Dustin again. Because I won. I won my money on that. I knew Dustin was going to go out there. Yeah, it's the guys that stay in the game who continue on to keep fighting, you know.
Yeah.
But nonetheless here, odds are super close, man. How do you see this fight going down, Tabor?
To be honest, I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like everyone in the world thinks Francis is just going to go smoke Stipe, and I just... It could happen. It without a doubt could happen. Like we said earlier, is Francis going to come out and in the first 15 seconds just go for the KO? If he does that, it's going to be a rough night for him probably. Who knows? Or he could just get the KO. I just don't know, dude. I don't know. I like that this fight's a pick'em because it should be. Really, anything can happen in this wild sport. I just have to stick with my guy, dude. Like, he's without a doubt top 3 favorite fighter of all time, Stipe Miocic. You know what made me the biggest Stipe fan?
What's that?
It was the first Francis fight.
Really?
Just the legendary performance he put on. I remember, because I wasn't super into UFC when I remember going, yeah, fuck, I got nothing else to do this Saturday. I bought the pay-per-view, and that's what made, that performance is what made me go, oh, I've been missing out these last few years.
Well, let's keep in mind, too, and let's not kid ourselves. So many people counted Stipe Miocic out of that fight.
Everyone.
Even though
including
he was the
myself.
Champion.
Yeah, and
he was a champ.
And he was on the verge of becoming the consensus greatest with the most titled defenses, and he was knocking dudes out left and fucking right, and I still bought into the Francis hype. And then Francis gets smoked. Francis got... well, Derek Lewis, I guess, is what you could say. And then he's just, the resurgence since has been fantastic.
It has been.
Like I said earlier, it's the same talking points, dude. It really is. This fight is no different the second time, I think. I'm going to go Stipe unanimous decision. I don't see Stipe finishing Francis. I'm not saying he can't. He absolutely can. He has the knockout power. He has the submission game. He has the wrestling. He, without a doubt, can finish Francis. I just don't see that happening. If anyone's getting knocked out here, it's Stipe, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm the biggest Stipe. I'm the biggest Stipe fan. But if anyone's getting knocked out here, it's him. I'm going Stipe Miocic, unanimous decision. I'm going to put 250 church coin on the guy. I want to put more. I really do, because I do think if Stipe comes out and puts on the exact same performance again, consensus greatest heavyweight of all time, consensus, you could say pound for pound, one of the greatest fighters ever.
Yeah.
Without
Absolutely.
a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, especially if it's the same performance, which replicating that performance is probably the most difficult thing you could ask that guy.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. 110%. My pick. So we have constantly been one-upping each other on the church coin bets on this podcast. And I have been waiting for this fight for a very long time for this one reason. I knew it would be the most church coins I had ever put on a fight, period. And I do have a little bit of a comfortable lead, but I'm willing to risk that lead in its entirety. I got about a 4,000 church coin lead over you. So I have decided to lay down the new biggest bet on this podcast. I am laying 4,000 church coin on Francis Ngannou, first round knockout within the first minute of this fight. I think Ngannou is going to go out there. I think he's going to try to take his head off, and it just takes one punch with this guy. And I like it. I like the puncher's chance here. It's literally a pick'em fight. I love the odds going into this for Francis Ngannou. So I'm putting 4,000 church coins down on Francis Ngannou to be the new heavyweight champion of the world. And not only that, but I am a Francis Ngannou fanboy. This is like a special Mike Tyson era. And what better way to win the heavyweight belt than to beat the greatest heavyweight of all time? And I don't care if Stipe loses this fight, Ngannou, John Jones, they have a long path in front of them before they can be considered the greatest heavyweight of all time.
Let's pump the brakes here. Let's pump the brakes. If Stipe loses, does he deserve a rematch? Do you think they do a trilogy?
Well, hold on. If Stipe wants it, yes, he deserves it. I'll say that. But I think, honestly, at this point in Stipe's career, if he were to lose to Ngannou, I don't know necessarily. Because what is he? He's 39 now, right? 38, 39?
Yeah, something like
He's getting real close to 40, which is typically when heavyweights retire, typically, right? So, yes. I'll tell you that right now. First and foremost, if Francis Ngannou goes out there and beats Stipe absolutely deserves a trilogy. I don't give a flying fuck about John Jones. That fight can wait. You give the man his respect. You give him what he deserves as the greatest heavyweight of all time, and you give him that trilogy fight. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. But I don't think if Stipe, because I'll tell you why. It's kind of the same thing with DC, right? DC took that trilogy. It ended up not going his way, and he wasn't the greatest heavyweight of all time. Stipe could very well be put in that scenario, because we could be looking at the new greatest heavyweight of all time in Ngannou.
I think Ngannou ruins the heavyweight division.
Wow, what the fuck kind of take is that?
I think he ruins it. I think he makes it unentertaining.
Get out of here.
I seriously think that. I think he just fucking smokes. He smokes everybody. He already has.
Okay.
He already has. He ruins the division. He makes it unentertaining. He makes it non-interesting. Francis Ngannou not being the champion makes it more interesting, in my opinion.
That's like pulling in with a false headline where I'm like, come on. But I get it. Okay. I see
you know
where
what I
you're
mean?
coming from.
It's like, what is he going to do? Is he going to fight John Jones 7 times? Like, there's no one else.
Yeah, you got.
There's really no one else. Like, I think I'm okay. Ruining the division. That's pretty. That's pretty harsh.
I know, but you led with that. And then you made your point, and it makes sense. Mm-hmm. It does make sense.
It's not as exciting as this fight. Like, right. Francis fighting for the belt is more exciting than Francis defending it.
I want to ask you a hypothetical in this heavyweight, though. Okay, so what if Ngannou goes out there hypothetically, right, and does beat Stipe? Okay, Stipe's still the greatest heavyweight of all time, especially if he retires off that loss, right? Because most champions do. I mean, most. Unless you're Habib, there are rare occasions in the sport, GSP, but majority of the time, right? Like DC, he went out. He went out with a loss. If Stipe goes out and that fight remains 1-1, do you know how much more Ngannou has to defend and how better he's got to be than Stipe, right? So if Stipe wants to roll the dice, get the trilogy for him, but if he lets it sit at 1-1, that's going to be a debate for ages, right?
Yeah, it will be.
It'll be a debate for ages. So it's really what Stipe wants to do. And I will tell you, I'm totally in agreement. If Stipe wants that trilogy, he deserves it if Ngannou goes out there and beats him.
My perfect scenario is Stipe just grinds out the most gutting fucking hardest victory of his entire career, retires on top, and then you do Francis John Jones for the vacant belt. That's what I think is the perfect way to do it. But I wouldn't be shocked if Stipe ends up staying and defends several times. If he does win, if he loses, it's a different story. Even then, he might still fight. I don't hear any word from Stipe ever, period, which is, he doesn't talk to the media. But, I don't hear anything of him saying, this is it.
Yeah, no. And let me ask you this,
It could be. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Stipe goes out there, steamrolls Stu Ngannou again for 5 rounds, because I want to play devil's advocate here on the other way. You don't think Stipe would take at least one more fight and try to beat the guy that's never been beaten before? John Jones.
That's the matchup.
That's the final matchup because dude. If Stipe goes out there and beats Ngannou, who everyone thinks will be the greatest heavyweight of all time, right? Or a lot of people, I should say, a lot of fans. He goes out there and steamrolls him again, and then he takes on John Jones, and he only has to do it once. That's it. With a guy like John, you only have to do it once. You only have to give that guy his first L and then ride off to the sunset. Stipe, it doesn't matter what anyone else does in their career. It doesn't matter if Ngannou defends the belt 9 times. Stipe has won a trilogy against DC. He beat Ngannou twice, and then beat the guy who has never been beaten before in his entire career, who many say is the GOAT. Dude.
It's a hard argument to make for not being the GOAT.
Yeah, it'd be an impossible one. If he went out there and beat John Jones after beating Ngannou, and anyone said Stipe wasn't the greatest of all time,
they're an idiot.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're stupid, dude. You put that respect on the man's name. But again, these are all hypotheticals, but they're so much fun to talk about.
Right.
That's why. That's why this fight is so much fun.
It's because you don't know what's going to happen. You really don't. I mean, you can think Francis is going to go smoke him in 15 seconds, but who knows? You just don't know.
That's what everyone thought the first time around too. It's really how much has Francis Ngannou developed his takedown defense and his clinch work. That's
if Francis comes out technical, I think he smokes him.
Really?
I think if Francis learned how to be a technical boxer, he would be consensus greatest.
He just gets too excited, man.
Exactly. And that's his kryptonite. That's his kryptonite. If he goes out like he did in the first fight, dude, it's going to be a rough night for him, I think, because Stipe will capitalize on those giant, obvious looping punches.
He's just too smart of a fighter. He's been there, seen that, done that. And again, you're dealing with the greatest.
Yeah, we've spent way too long on this.
That's okay, dude.
It's worth it. It's such a good match.
Because literally, we have been sitting on this fight for so many months. We just wanted to talk about it, and now it's just like exuding out of our mouths, right? It sounds a little bit like this.
Absolutely.